Sailor for PNGBet.com for round 10, Big Dell's tips. Well, we tipped some good ones last week, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to back up this week because this is magic round. Okay, the first game we got on Friday night is the Knights versus the West Tigers. Well, the West Tigers, they just can't play two halves of football. Their young fullback Dane Laurie's been playing some really good football, but their halves aren't getting them around. Madge Maguire has been under some pressure, but he wants his forwards to do more, but he also wants his team to be more consistent. And a team that hasn't been that consistent are the Knights. So the Knights did a really good job against the Canberra Raiders. They were down 16-0 at half-time, and all of a sudden, who else but Callum Ponga? Half-time comes, I'm thinking the Raiders are going to win this by plenty. Then he puts a short kick in, gets the ball back, and what do you know? 24-16, the Raiders get beaten by the Knights. The Knights are playing some really good football on the back of guys like Callum Ponga, but one of their unsung heroes is their hooker, young Jaden Brayley. He's not only making 50 tackles a game, he's saving tries, and every now and then he sneaks over for a try. So he's playing some really good football. In this one, I'm not sure who I think can go 80 minutes, but I can't go past the Knights here. I'm taking the Knights at the line. I think they can get the job done here. West Tigers just can't put two halves of football together. So for me, the Newcastle Knights. I'm sure they can get the job done to lead off Magic Round. Well, this is going to be an absolute cracker, this match. The Broncos up against Manly. Manly have a really good record up there at Suncorp Stadium. Whenever they play Magic Round, they seem to get the win. This is going to be exciting in a lot of different departments. We all know how much of a superstar Tom Trbojevic is. He's not only scoring tries, he's setting them up, he's making breaks at will, he makes the team better. And that has been a good ripple effect for young blokes like Jason Saab on the wing. He scored a hat-trick last week. Tommy scored two. They're combining well together, but also their forward pack is starting to be really consistent now, really aggressive through that middle third. So I think the Broncos here, the Broncos are in a little bit of trouble here because the Broncos just can't put it together. They play well in patches. They went down by 1 point last week to the Cowboys up there. And it's a tough one too because when the Broncos are playing their best, you think these guys are going to score 20, 30 points, but then they fall asleep and they let you score tries. There's been some really good players come into this Broncos side. Young Tyson Gamble's been pretty refreshing there in the halves. Bad news for the Broncos. Young superstar Xavier Coates, who I think is going to be one of the best wingmen in the game for a long time. He's signed with the Melbourne Storm for 2 years. So the Broncos are losing players they want to keep. Where do I see the strengths here? Look, I think the Broncos, they've got a tough forward pack, but their backs are too inconsistent for me. So I think the Seagulls here, I think they're a great price. $1.37 are the Seagulls, but the Broncos are a good price at $3. So if you think the Broncos can aim up here, get on that. But I'm going to take Manly at the line, so -9 for $1.97. I just think Manly are playing too good a football on the back of that man Tom Turbo Trbojevic. So whenever he's playing well, you know Manly are playing well. And the Broncos at the moment, I want them to get another win. They've had 2 wins. I just don't know if they can close the game out. I know it's at Suncorp Stadium, but teams get excited about going to Suncorp Stadium because they know big stadium, big crowd, and I think they're averaging about 40,000 crowd every day up there. So that's going to be massive for Magic Round, and it's exactly what the NRL need. A nice shot in the arm. I'm not going to lie, but these two teams have had a very lean month. Obviously, the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, they've had a very lean season. They've had 1 win. That was against the Sharks. And the Canberra Raiders, they've lost 5 in a row. There's a few rumblings down there in the Australian Capital Territory saying that Ricky Stewart might be the problem, but then other people saying, no, there's some players who want to leave. But at the end of the day, if you start winning games, all those rumblings go away. So look, for me, I think Canberra, they can still bounce back here. There's a long season. They've got some great players in this team, but they're not playing well as a team. I think they scored 16 unanswered points against Newcastle, but they shut up shop. I think it's the 4th or 5th game in a row that they led at half time. They just leak points in the second half. It's like me on the golf course on the back nine. Just leak shots. But for me, the Bulldogs at the moment, they got flogged by the Dragons. They just can't put it together against the Dragons either. where I see this match being won, I think the Raiders are going to win, so I think they'll win this well. The Bulldogs at a good price, if you like a good price, $4.90. Young Kyle Flanagan's come under some stress and some heat, which I understand, but I don't think it's all his fault. They just can't get some ascendancy through that middle third. The Canberra Raiders are $1.14. Look, to be honest, I like the Raiders at the line, -14, $1.70. I just can't see the Raiders not turning up and putting on a good show here. They're such a good side. A lot of people tipped them to be in top four. At the moment, I think they're down near 8th or 9th. They're just not putting it together. So for me, I think the Raiders are going to put it to the Dogs and put it to them very cleanly. They could even score 20 points here. So let's hope we see the Raiders of old come back. And I think one of the players the Raiders are missing most is Chance Nickel-Cookstadt. I think he's one of the cornerstone of their team. He gets their defence organised and he brings energy to their team. So big Josh Papali'i last week, he was getting back to his best, but wasn't good enough to get the Raiders home. But the Raiders for mine, they'll get the job done. Dogs in for a long time. Well, the Sharks versus the Rabbitohs. The Sharks. Ever since they announced their new coach, Craig Fitzgibbons, it just hasn't gone to plan for the Sharks. The harder they try, the worse it gets. Absolutely smashed by the Panthers last week. I think 46-0 or 48-0. They didn't look like scoring a point. And South Sydney, same sort of thing. They got beaten by 50-odd by that team that we all know now, the Melbourne Storm. The Bunnies have got 4 top-line players out, and I think that was the thing for the Bunnies. No one would have expected them to get smashed by that much. You're going to have those games. But one thing I know about Wayne Bennett is that he can get a team to bounce back. So the bounce back factor here for me, the Bunnies will be embarrassed about that. The Sharks have got to show some pride. So the Sharks are $2.85. I don't think I couldn't touch the Sharks because their defence at the moment hasn't been great. Players are coming in and out. For me, the Bunnies have got some wonderful players, as we know. And last week they just didn't go according to plan. Benji Marshall obviously missed a few tackles and playing great. Damien Cook wasn't getting out of dummy half. They just got dominated. But this is a different team. Sharks. The Sharks aren't the same quality and ilk as what the Melbourne Storm were last week. So where I see this one going, I think this is a great price. South Sydney Rabbitohs -8.5 for $1.97. -8.5, please. The Bunnies will bounce back. I know Wayne Bennett's ego. It'll be hurt. I know they can bounce back. You're going to have those games. Well, here we have the Roosters versus North Queensland Cowboys. The Cowboys are travelling nicely. I think they've got 4 wins under their belt now. Todd Payton is a lot more relaxed, but he's going to be up against it this game because the Roosters, even though they've got some injuries and they've got some quality players there, I think they've got 7 or 8 players out, but they just seem to find a way to win games to stay in the battle. Obviously, last week against Parramatta, a couple of more injuries, unfortunately for them, but young Sam Walker's in doubt this week. So they're hoping to get him through. And it's one of those things where you just can't depend on guys like James Tedesco all the time. I look at this Cowboys side, there's some superstars. Kyle Felt scored a miracle try last week. There used to be a show called Inspector Gadget. He had the big arm and stuff, and it was just, he scored an unbelievable try. So Kyle Felt's playing some great football, but Valentine Holmes is getting back to his best. But that man, Tamalolo, he's the man that they talked about getting back to his best. So now that he's playing some really good football, Colin Hess and all these players are getting on the back of that. So where I see this one, look, I think the Cowboys are a good price. Suncorp saying for $3.65. Roosters, I think, are way too short at $1.24. But where I'm looking at the moment, I'm probably going to go the Roosters still, minus the 10 at $1.76. Only because I trust the Roosters. They've got a very talented back line. And it's one of those back lines that once they start scoring tries, it's hard to stop. At the moment, the Cowboys are playing some alright football, but they haven't beaten anyone of quality. And that's, for me, that's scary. So for me, take the Roosters minus the 10.5 start for $1.83, and that should get you home. But this is going to be a cracking game, and if the Cowboys can win this one, they're really going to be in the hunt there for the top 8. Hello guys, Wendell Sailor here for PNGBet.com. The Warriors versus the Eels. This will be some sort of match because the Eels have got two players out of quality. Dylan Brown's obviously suspended for a couple of weeks. So is Nakora. He's out for a couple of weeks also. So it's going to test their depth out here, the Parramatta Eels. I'm sure they've got enough strength in this squad to replace, but they're two quality players who have been quite consistent. And the Warriors at the moment, the Warriors are playing some really good football. A couple of games now at half time, they're leading and they've been getting run down, which is unfortunate because you've got guys like Roger Tuivasa playing some good football, but also young Reece Walsh. He's been a standout and their forward pack have been doing a really good job. They just don't know how to close it out once they get to that lead. I think this is a danger game for Parramatta Eels, but there's no doubt the Warriors could get them in this game. The Warriors won't mind throwing it around. This is going to be probably close to one of the most exciting matches of this Magic round. I think these two teams will be evenly matched, especially with those suspensions. But where I see my value here, or the confidence for me, I can't go past the Parramatta Eels with their outside five. Their outside five are doing a really good job, especially Clint Gutherson playing well at the back. Mitchell Moses has been getting them around. I'm going to go the Parramatta Eels here, minus 6.5. So at the line, 6.5, that'll get you $1.80. That's where I'm heading because I think Parramatta can score some tries and they're still a very good defensive unit. I know the Warriors can score some points, but I just don't trust their defence at the moment. Let's see how they go, but this should be an absolute ripper. Strap yourself in. This is what Magic Round is all about. Well, who doesn't love a Sunday afternoon match at Suncorp Stadium? In Magic Round, the Storm up against the Dragons. And some good news for Dragons fans. I know it's unfortunate for the Storm, but two of their high-profile players are going to be out for a couple of weeks. Harry Grant and that man Cam Munster. So, unfortunately for the Storm, those players are going to be out. Those two have been so consistent from this year, but I'm sure they'll be back in a couple of weeks. So, for the Dragons, that's certainly going to help their cause. I look at the Dragons team, and at the back, Matt Duffy is playing some really good football. He's starting to compete on every play. His defence has gotten a lot better. It doesn't surprise me also. Corey Norman have combining really well. So they're certainly doing a really good job there on the back of their forward pack. Young Blake Laurie has started to stand up. The young front row, they call him Blocker. He's really taken it to a lot of the other forwards, and he's starting to come of age now. But Josh Kerr's playing well in the back row. But if I have a look at this Melbourne side, still, you take out Grant and Munster. They've just got internationals and origin players everywhere. Josh Adokar, I still can't believe it. 6 tries. That's right, 6 tries. That's unbelievable. He's playing some great football on the back of great support from Justin Olam. Justin is playing some wonderful football. He's not overplaying his hand. He's given the Fox the ball whenever he wants it. And Olam, I think, has learned from a couple of mistakes he made early in the season that he doesn't need to make the big play. We know he's tough. We know he can score tries. We know he can hit hard. But now he's starting to offload that ball to give it to the Fox. When you got someone of the Fox's speed, just give him the ball, and you know what? The Fox will do the rest. So I'll look at the points here. The Dragons here, $5.35. Look, I think it's about right. The Storm, $1.12, even with two of those stars out. They've just got so much depth, and whoever comes in does a job. Even Pappenhausen, he's been injured for the last couple of weeks. So Melbourne Storm, minus 17.5 at $1.96. But you know what? I'm actually going to go the Dragons here because even though the Storm have averaged 40 points, I'm taking the Dragons. I know the Storm are going to win, but I think the Dragons, the minus 17.5 points at $1.75, I reckon that's good points. And I reckon the Dragons will use it because the Dragons can score some points on the back of Ben Hunt playing so well last week. So take the Dragons at the line. That's 7.5 points to get start. Melbourne Storm, yeah. And I reckon you'll cash in. Okay, the last game here, the Magic Round, the undefeated Panthers. The Panthers, 9 in a row, going for 10 in a row. It's been a wonderful season. The Titans are playing some really good football, but there's going to be no David Fafita. David Fafita, I think he's worth about 8 to 10 points for you. He's obviously serving suspension at the moment. So I think the Panthers, for me, I can't go past the Panthers here. I think the Panthers will do a really good job once again. Obviously, we know their skill set. We saw it last week. Their forward pack leads the way. James Fisher-Harris, he was an absolute beast at the start of that game. He led the way, just real direct, and on the back of that, the backs did their thing. You know, Jerome Luai, I think, try assist left, right and centre. Just his skill set. He plays off the cuff. He plays what he sees, eyes up football. And at the back, you know, you got guys like Dylan Edwards. Charlie Stain scored 3 tries. And obviously, we looked at Brian To'o, who scored another 240 or 50 metres. He can't be stopped, Brian To'o. Stop kicking Brian To'o. I look at the Titans. The Titans have got a really good side, but they just can't do it for 80 minutes. They play well for 40 minutes, and then they're in trouble. Where I look at this, I see this. The Panthers giving 18.5 start. I think that's pretty good, $1.73. I can't go past it. I can't touch the Titans. Titans are paying $6.70. And also, Panthers are $1.09. Take the Panthers, minus 18.5 start, and you'll cash in there. Go to Mighty Panthers. That's Big Dell's tips for Magic Round, Round 10. I'll see you, same time, same place. Happy tipping, punters. You know it.